Hey everyone, I'm the Sagan.
I'm the Tesla.
We are Sorry to Say. And welcome to a rather interesting Shocktober video. As this is Shocktober X, the 10th year we have done this. Yes. How did we not think of doing that at any point during this?
I don't know why.
Shocktober X! You know. But yeah, it has been 10 years since we've started this Halloween shenanigans that we do, and I thought it would
Shocktober X, suck it.
I did leave room in the title card for a subtitle because I'm we don't really have one this year, and it's fine because it's Shocktober X, you know. But it's Shocktober X, suck.
I've been watching way too much
clearly,
wrestling.
yeah, I know, yeah. The amount of wrestling retrospective this man has posted in our Discord is almost concerning, but it is an interesting as somebody that actually enjoyed the Attitude Era of WWF, because I spent summers with a friend that was very much obsessed with WWF. I got a lot of that first or second hand, and it's kind of interesting going back through it, but don't let any of that distract you from the fact that in 1998, the Undertaker turned Mankind into an announcer. At this point, we go off the rails for several minutes talking about our personal histories with WWE and professional wrestling in general. That is not the point of this video, so I'm actually going to skip you through all that BS. But if you do like to hear us talk about this kind of thing, let us know in the comments or on our Discord, because, we do occasionally talk about doing a podcast, which we'll touch on later in this video. Maybe that's a topic for discussion, because I can tell you from what I'm cutting out of this video, we go on at length. So let me get you to what this video is actually about.
Stupid.
Yeah. Okay, that's getting off topic, but what I thought would be fun to do for this video in Shocktober X is that we sit down here and trying to keep fairly on topic, have a little retrospective of each year of Shocktober and what the idea with it or what the plan with it, because we don't do this with every Shocktober, but usually there's a plan for some kind of storyline or at least a vague theme for the year, and so I thought it'd be fun to kind of visit back through that. I took some notes to kind of keep us on topic, and it was interesting even for me to go back through 10 years of our own uploads and be oh yeah, that's what we did this year, that was the idea, but maybe that didn't materialize the way it was originally planned. Sometimes we come up with an idea in
the Shocktober before,
right, Shocktober before, be let's remember that for next year, and then we don't, or we do, but it becomes this thing that due to filming or scheduling conflicts to try to film, getting together to film has been very difficult in the last 4 years. Especially, the Darwin should be here for this video as well. Unfortunately, he's getting ready to go to Japan right now, so he's not able to be here today because that was another plan I had for today. But at least I was able to get you over here, and so anyway, let's get down to it. So let's start in 2014. This isn't even technically Shocktober. Yes, there are uploads. Those were the very first Five Nights at Freddy's videos. That is the seed that was planted that started Shocktober. But we didn't call it Shocktober. We just uploaded us playing Five Nights at Freddy's during the month of October. That
was right around the time the first one came out.
Yeah, was
it 1 or 2 years after?
It was about a year after. It was one of the few times we were still on trend, but we were at the very tail end of it. And it was, feel free to go back and watch them. They are there at the very beginnings of the channel. We are, usually a couple drinks in.
We were more than a couple drinks, because it was usually done after Ground Control.
Not all of the early ones, but yes, a lot of the early ones are done. A lot of the ones for Five Nights at Freddy's 1 are done after we came back from Ground Control, playing Rock Band all night. We've definitely had a few drinks. If you want, to go watch the outtake video that's in one of the 12 days from a couple of years ago, there's one where I'm literally asleep, and he's playing with one eye open, But that didn't make the final edit for the video, but I had to keep that around for outtake purposes.
There's so many times that you actually dozed off, and I'm the one who's driving, and then I get scared, and then you get...
And then I woke up and I'm what the fuck? Just because...
Oh no, you're panicking too, because I'm just freaking out, and you're freaking out too. I think that's where the truck mouth comes from.
No, so truck mouth comes from Five Nights at Freddy's, 100%. But I was very much awake.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I have that clip, but it was just, you know. And I mean, it's in the outtake video too. I was like, look at that, you could drive a truck in that mouth, you know. So that was 2014. It wasn't really what we call Shocktober, but without it, who knows if Shocktober would happen. So moving to 2015. Shocktober 1. This is the first year we actually called it Shocktober. We posted a video on the 30th of September saying, from here on out, for the month of October, we're calling this Shocktober. And we even admitted it was kind of a lame name at the time. We just literally couldn't think of anything else. But that's the first time we actually called it Shocktober. Planned for horror videos, but we didn't really have anything, concrete beyond that. And then, about halfway through the month, I was at work, probably editing Five Nights at Freddy's footage, and I get a drunk email from this guy with no message and a very odd sound clip attached.
It was probably the best audio editing I've ever done. Legitimately, that was so well done.
And by his own admission, he was absolutely wasted at the time.
I was tanked. I was real bad, actually. I'm shocked I could pull it off.
But he had...
Sitting up, that is.
He had, three YouTube videos open simultaneously, right? And
maybe even more. It could have been 4 or 5.
And he basically just hit record and started, flipping between
on my
these
phone.
videos.
Yeah, on my phone I was recording. And then, I was jumping between videos. And sometimes I'd have them both, multiple playing at once, and then I'd fade one out, and I was using the volume bar on each video as the mixer. That's why I'm I don't know how it came out as good as it did, because I was I just remember, the only thing I remember is, my wall, and that's it. Just, looking at a wall as I'm working on this, and that's it.
You just, disconnected and, just...
Yeah, something happened.
Your inner artist, just had a moment there.
Yeah.
So, he sends me this. And again, there's no... excuse me. There's no message in the email. It's literally just from the Tesla attachment. That's it. And I listen to this, and then I immediately message him and go, what the hell did you just send me? But it's...
Was the first one the one with the yelling?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it sparked... Slight editor's note, we actually were misremembering the order. There was another video that he'd done some odd sounds with that featured in the first video, the Sagan says, dude, where's my Tesla? That we did film to make it look like Tesla had found some weird video on the internet that basically sucked his consciousness into it, and he went missing. And then the second video is the aforementioned one with all the weird sounds that I was inspired to use that to continue the gag, which wasn't the original plan. That would have to actually go to double check the video. That might have been the second one you said, because I did get a second one of these from him. But it sparked a creative thought in my head of ooh, I could use this to weave a storyline throughout our spoopy videos this month of you've gone missing, and this is all I'm getting at.
The fact that we never used Mario's missing references. A crime against humanity.
The sooner we forget that game existed. So I took that and made 2 very well-known videos on the channel. One of which is called The Sagan Says, Dude, Where's My Tesla? And the second one is The Sagan Says, Are You There, Tesla? It's Me, Sagan. Both of these treating as though he had gone missing, and my only clues to his whereabouts or well-being were these cryptic audio files that I was getting sent by him. And I will fully admit that at the time we were doing this, Marble Hornets had either just finished up or was going through the final bits of its final season. So I was definitely inspired by it. Anytime one of our videos starts with a black screen for a few seconds and then just some text shows up, that's me referencing Marble Hornets, because I always just love that spoopy vibe of here's the guy editing the video, narrating, and this shit is happening to him, but he's somewhere else right now. Well, here's what you're seeing what's going on now, kind of thing. But yeah, that was the first time we tried to weave a story into Shocktober, and I've always tried to have an idea like that for every Shocktober. It doesn't always work out, but there's some thought like that put into it. That was when we first moved on to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and I think I did The Consuming Shadow. That was 2 of our longer running spoopy games. So then Shocktober 2, which was just called Shocktober 2016 because we didn't, think of numbering them as such. No real intro video that year. I was on vacation, and it was just it's October, I'll start putting out, spoopy content. That was the first time that Shivers made an appearance on the channel. I actually attempted to do a full playthrough of it. Not a speedrun, just here's me playing the game and kind of talking about my enjoyment of the game and what it normally looks like when you're not seeing it played at lightning speed. Unfortunately, about halfway through recording that, I had a technical difficulty with the microphone setup, and I lost the entire audio for an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
An hour of the game, and that was so discouraging to me to think that great, now I've got to go back and play through this whole thing, or I'm gonna have to sit here and audio commentate my own video for an hour. That I kind of just gave up on that. I hated to do that, but I was I need to just move on and pick another game and do something fresh because that was a real letdown, for me personally. So yeah, Shocktober 2016 kind of fizzled out, but there's several different games on there. You can go back and check that one out. Shocktober 3, or as it is subtitled, the 2017 inning. That is his creation. In fact, the title and the idea for the intro video, Hong Kong 17.
97.
No, that's what ours is called. It's Hong Kong 17, which is a reference to Hong Kong 97.
Yeah.
It's all his idea. He came up with the idea for that. I wrote the shooting script. And
the only downside with that one is we actually had a reproduction cartridge at our disposal for Hong Kong 97. But in the video, he didn't know that.
We
that my roommate at the time had it, so he put a post-it note.
Yes, I actually rewatched this video while making the notes for this video, and that is the one shot out of that entire video I hate, is that I had to do that because I was damn, we needed a shot of the cartridge in the console.
Yeah,
we didn't get it.
But at the time we didn't really I don't know if what ended up being his nickname.
Oh, the Pascal.
Pascal, yeah. I didn't know that he had it available at the time, but he did.
Right, we found out afterwards, I had a repro card of that. I was well, that would have been fantastic to know the day of, but we just didn't have that. I was at home editing the video, running out of time. It's well, damn, my SNES is sitting right here. It's supposed to look like a bootleg cart anyway.
Yeah.
So I literally put the SNES on the floor, put Chrono Trigger in the SNES, wrote Hong Kong 17 or 97 on a sticky note and stuck that on the cartridge. Actually, I think I used a different cartridge because I wouldn't defile Chrono Trigger with a sticky note. I probably just used Super Mario World.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that sometimes we really make do at the last minute on this channel. That's kind of always been a thing, always will be a thing. Because sometimes inspiration strikes at the last second. It's shit, I can do this. It just got to get it done.
And actually, we did do a reference to this intro video this year.
I was going to cover that when we get to later. There's been a couple of references back to.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like I said,
but if people want to know what the original, what this year's was,
right? Yeah. Well, I figured.
I know, but I'm just going to mention it now.
Sure, yeah. No, it's good mention. We've made references back to this one. This was the first time that we did an intro, a proper intro video to Shocktober. This is the first year that I started having consistent title cards for every Shocktober video. This is the first year that we used Dead Silence as the intro theme, which has not changed with one exception, which we'll talk about when we get there. This was the year that sort of codified Shocktober, we did use it a bit in 2016, but it wasn't nearly 3 was the year it became consistent. That I had an intro with the zombie hand coming up to scratch the 3, and that made it into every video. Unfortunately, content was a bit sporadic that year.
I like the note they have. I mean, yeah, it was sad. I don't think it was so shattering.
I wrote that because I noticed there were at least 2 references to it throughout the video. I think it was more time and everything that just
It's funny because it's like the year before was even worse for celebrity deaths. He puts down Tom Petty. Unfortunately, it was a shock that he passed away. Was it 2017?
So 2017? Yeah, because
I know it was for him, but I'm thinking was it 2016 or 2017, the year of celebrity deaths?
Oh, God, 2016, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I wasn't sure because I was trying to remember when Bowie passed because I know that he capped off a year.
Right, so when Bowie died, Bowie and Alan Rickman both went at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember we were at Ground Patrol and we all were just kind of sitting around like, fuck.
Like, what the hell?
It's like, okay, Space Oddity. Do we have it? Do we have it? No, we don't have it. What the hell?
How do we...
I distinctly remember when we went to play it, it wasn't there, which was in it itself an oddity.
Yeah.
But so I mean, literally the second video of Shocktober 3 was me going, this video intentionally left blank, basically going, you know what, I just found out Tom Petty died. There was something else that was going on at the time. I didn't watch the video because I didn't really want to read my own bullshit. Well, I did go back and watch the video while editing, and it was 3 things that happened. Primarily, it was the shooting in Las Vegas at the time. I had forgotten that it had happened at the same time. Then the video in question had a lot of trouble editing, which obviously would have frustrated me. And then, I had actually opted to release it late and go to bed and get some sleep. Then I woke up and found Tom Petty died, and that's where I was like, you know what, no video today. There was something else that happened, and then I found out Tom Petty died, and I said, you know what, taking the day off. See you tomorrow. And I picked it up with Outlast, and that was fine. But yeah, unfortunately, that Shocktober just fizzled out, I think, because of
the first few Shocktobers ended up fizzling out. It took a little while before we got to the 30.
Right. I mean,
the first 30 was like
beyond. I think we can move on to Shocktober 4, 2018. This is the year we did Five Nights at Teddy's as the intro video, which is still one of my favorite things.
I think this is I don't know if it's number 1 or number 2 for me. Yeah. For intro specifically. That was a really well done
potentially
one.
We'll talk about Shocktober 5's intro when we get there.
I didn't. That's why I left it.
Right. Yeah.
Vague, Mister. Right, yeah. I'm just gonna go.
I know. I'm sorry. So. I would say Five Nights at Freddy's or Five Nights at Teddy's is probably one of my favorite.
That was really well done
that we've ever done, and that was literally done in a day. Like I went over to his place, we sat down on the couch, filmed the actual intro portion of the video with the Darwin, and then I went and got camera angles and everything I needed for the security cam footage, and I literally sat at your dining room table and edited that video in a couple hours to put it up in time for it to premiere.
Yeah, and that's usually how the intro videos end up.
Right.
Which I actually I know it's kind of stressful, but at the same time I kind of like it.
Oh, it feels so good when it gets done.
Yeah.
Like, there's only been one year where I was late, and I was still, editing it, and it still was up by, 2 a.m., but for me, it's I want it up by midnight if we can make it. Even this year,
it's pretty rare. I think, for the most part, our intros are done in the last week of September.
Yeah, we always come up with the idea, but we don't get a chance to film it and put it together until, the last couple of days,
Which I think it's kind of, the only reason I kind of like it is because I think since we have to improvise a little bit.
It helps me work better under that pressure of, this has to get done, so I can't sit here and waffle and decision.
Oh, yeah,
make a decision, edit, and, I'm very detail-focused when I'm parodying something. I want to, get as much detail about the original as possible into it, and I absolutely, did that balls to the wall with Five Nights at Teddy's. I mean, I photoshopped the camera overlays out, I mapped out in my mind how the cameras would be laid out in the house if you actually had a security camera system like that. My favorite detail is the bathroom being Darwin's office, because they're that's appropriate. He'd just be sitting on the toilet on his phone, Actually, no, I take it back. My favorite detail in that video, and it's only for people that haven't been paying attention to Shocktober up to that point, is when it goes to your room, the camera's broken, but if you listen very carefully in the background, the audio from "Are You There, Tesla? It's Me, Sagan" is playing.
Yeah.
So because. When I first received the audio from him and I made those videos, I thought that was you screaming.
I remember.
I didn't realize that was a stock sound effect. I literally sat down with the ride and we listened to that and we're like, that sounds like he's like standing across the room from the microphone, just screaming his lungs out.
No, it was a stock sound, and then it went missing for years.
Yeah, we couldn't find it.
And then I think I found it last year randomly.
Yeah, and I've got it somewhere.
Yeah.
I know I downloaded it, but now I don't remember, like, I think
Sam, I can't remember. It's like, I know it's on YouTube. We can verify it's on YouTube again. Because for a few years, we could not find it on YouTube.
Yeah, we've got to, like, start mixing that into Shocktober.
Yeah.
It's a little Easter egg. So, other than the Five Nights at Freddy's intro, there was no huge plan for an overarching theme. The title card is one of the more different ones from the past Shocktobers. The whole idea there was, since it's Shocktober 4, which is IV, I thought, oh, hospital IV. And I came up with the idea of like the blood dripping on the floor and the drained IV bag hitting the floor. I thought of like a vampire sucking on this thing and then drops it on the floor. It just kind of ran with that, and that was the intro card. And Shocktober 4 was also the first year that I hit the 31 video goal. Did 31 videos in 31 days, got it out. Shocktober 5. This one is our most different intro, and is the only year that we didn't use dead silence.
And I think this is my favorite intro overall, but I like the editing a little bit better on the Five Nights.
Yeah, I mean, the Five Nights at Freddy's hits. If you played Five Nights at Freddy's, you absolutely understand like what I was going for.
Yeah.
With Shocktober 5, the intro was obviously a parody of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and we literally just took like, okay, here's every scene from that intro. How could we parody this? And I mean, I love the things we did, like the flap, the window shutter flapping is like a PBR cardboard box flapping,
with a shoestring attached.
With a shoestring attached. You can't see it in the video, but that's absolutely how it was done. If you just tied a shoestring to it, I was like, okay. And action, he's sitting behind the stairs going like this, and I was like, that'll. And when I synced it up to the audio and it actually like was in time, I was like, that's so fucking good. And then it's like, how do we do the boat like floating on the river? It's like, well, I've got a rubber ducky, we'll just throw it in the toilet.
Yeah.
It's like we just like. But and then like the zoom in on the empty couch, where we'd normally be sitting for our videos, and we should
the pan across with Teddy there,
right?
And the clown.
That's probably my favorite shot, because the clown is probably the most memorable thing from the original intro that most people notice, and it was like we had to get that, and it's like we have to use Teddy for that. So I'm going to keep my editing interruptions to a minimum because this video is already going to be long enough as it is. But I did want to point out there was also a neat little reference back to the previous year, Five Nights at Teddy's, in our Are You Afraid of the Dark intro, because you see it on the TV before it cuts to the couch. So there is one missing video from that year. There are 30 videos out for Shocktober 5. There was one more planned video to make 31, which was my top 5 Are You Afraid of the Dark retrospective. And as I talked about in that video when I finally did release it a couple years ago during the 12 Days of Christmas, that one took me forever to edit. And a lot of that's on the editing software that I use. It just doesn't like a lot of clips and things on the timeline. It becomes very, very cumbersome to work with. I had some trouble with that with the Phasmophobia stuff I just put out this last weekend, because I was dealing with both my footage and the Edison's, but I made it work, and eventually I did get the retrospective done because I was really happy with my initial commentary, and I wanted to finish the video. It just took me years, because I have to take breaks from stuff when I'm getting burnt out on this. I need to move on to something else. But I did get it out. So technically there are still 31 videos for Shocktober 5. You just don't get the last one until a couple of years later. Alright, Shocktober 6. Yeah, so there are callbacks to Shocktober 3 within that intro. Mainly the Sweet Jesus God, which I treat as the Darwin's catchphrase.
It is.
But I had to do it since he wasn't, available that day. But I will tell you right now, that intro video, which is us parodying The Sixth Sense. Okay.
I see bad gamers.
Was entirely his idea, and it was entirely based on just the phrase of, hey, the sixth sense, change. And I'm sure it was a drunk conversation, and we just kind of ran with that. And,
Most likely, yeah.
And that was another one that was like, it was film. I mean, when you see the clock flip from 11:59 to midnight, like that was staged on a tablet, on my tablet. I wrote a web page that I could hit it and then film it, and it would do that. But we literally were filming that like September 30th,
yeah,
and it was up by midnight. It was another one that was just done, last minute. Other than that, Sixth Sense, there wasn't really a running theme with that year, I don't think.
Nah.
7, Shocktober 7.
And by the way, now, like, these 2 years are pandemic ones.
Yeah,
number 6 was in 2020.
Right, we are in the pandemic years at this point. So, us getting together filming, a lot more difficult than it once was. I mean, it's still difficult now, but that's more due to our work schedules than anything else. Getting into 2021, Shocktober 7. 7.0, one of my other favorite intros that we made, and that literally, again, I threw that together in a day because it was like, oh crap, we are running out of time, we're not going to be able to get together. I had the idea for doing something like this, like a point-and-click adventure game. I just hadn't thought of how to do it, and then I was like, well, it wouldn't be the first time I've done a intro of us texting back and forth because we couldn't get together to film. We literally did that for Shocktober 5. I was like, I can do that as to explain why you aren't here, and then I came up with how I wanted to do, the intro. And of course, the Shocktober book that's found at the end of it is a massive reference to Myst because I'm a huge fan of that franchise, and it seemed appropriate. Like, you will zoom into the Shocktober book, and now we are in Shocktober, and so that was the inspiration for the intro, and that was really the only running theme for that year. 2022, Shocktober 8. That one, this one I'm a little... The intro is basically an aborted story arc. It was another one where it's like, crap, we're not going to be able to get together and film, but I can get something out that will set up what we had planned for the story.
Which one was number 8?
That was where we were going to have and I'm not going to go into too many details about what we're going to do, but the idea was that we, because you weren't able to film, I was going to essentially snap, and that was where I was going to go jigsaw on everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I was like, when you're like, it was another, like, we're texting back and forth intro, and you're like, I don't really have any ideas, and I'm like, I've got an idea. And the next shot you see is me grabbing a bunch of mini tapes out of my desk with the tape recorder.
Yeah, I remember now, yeah.
And there are just a few subtle notes of one of the remixes of Hello Zap. That's used later in Saw, not the actual Hello Zap itself. Because I was like, that feels spoopier, as an outro. The idea... And I'm not going to talk too deeply about this because it is likely a thing we will reuse when we can actually get together to film. Is we were going to get together with a couple of our friends from Ground Control and Tesla and the Darwin, and everybody would get subjected to their own saw trap as perpetrated by me.
Yeah.
And we still may do that, so that's why I'm not giving any details about anything that was planned there. But that's the only real, theme for that year that was sort of planned. We did the intro, and then I just sort of like, well, nobody really commented on that. I'm just gonna we'll stick that script in the back pocket, and we will revisit it at a future Shocktober when we can, plan ahead and get together with people to film. Shocktober 9. This is another one that slightly has a aborted story arc, although we did get part of it out. The story arc being, of course, Sinister-ish, which was the intro, which was the idea of, and I'm not going to give away too many details here because I've talked about this multiple times with the Darwin, and we absolutely do want to film it, and we think we'll just cut it into a short film that'll eventually be a video that comes out, rather than trying to sprinkle it throughout Shocktober because, well, I already sort of shot that load, but...
And that's what the old film camera type of thing, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
I still have that, by the way.
Good.
I do have it.
Yeah. So the only detail I'm going to give here, and I will include a screenshot here, is so I had seen the movie Sinister with the Darwin, when it came out, and it's one of the few films that like made me physically uncomfortable in the theater. Just the sound design really, really did that for me. But I just really love the film. I've rewatched it a bunch of times. And it's through some conversation that the Darwin and I were having, we sort of had this like joking idea of a parody of Sinister. And then a week or two later, I woke up and like had this brilliant idea for how to work us into a parody of Sinister. And I literally sat down and brain dumped an entire, like, how we could parody each of the films in Sinister, and what the, like, overarching plot would be, and various other parody things that we can include, which, again, I'm not going to give any of that away, but, like, you can see from the screenshot I'll show here, I wrote a ton that I've now redacted. And I've discussed it with Darwin. He still wants to do that. I know I've shown you some of it, and I know you kind of looked at it and you're like, that's a lot. And yeah, true, it was. But, and, you know, I don't know if we would have gotten all of that film, but to get even a portion of that would have been great. And we just, you know, again, scheduling conflicts couldn't make it happen. So, put it in the back pocket, another Shocktober.
And at the same time, he didn't know that I just found I think it is a 1960s or late 50s 8mm camera. That seems like it still works.
So we might even be able to do some of our own footage, which would be
vintage,
really cool.
yeah.
If we
vintage.
could actually find Super 8 that we could film.
Oh, you can get it still.
Yeah.
You can actually still, like, modern stuff, apparently, so.
Okay. Oh, there is one more thing to talk about during Shocktober 9, which was Project 6.
Yeah, I should have scripted that out a lot more.
Project 6 was almost entirely his idea. And I'm proud of you for what was there was fantastic.
Shocktober 9 was the idea. And then the idea was kind of like, we have our own podcast, but it gets corrupted as time goes on, so we have our regular subjects. Problem is that I had sound effects I was trying to work with, but they didn't go through, so you can't hear them basically at all.
Damn you, noise canceling.
Yeah, so it ended up just being a standard podcast, and
there were a couple, you know, spoopy things that did come through, but like basically we didn't.
And honestly, the concept would be one that I would want to revisit eventually.
Let's not give away the punchline on
but
that.
it missed it. Yeah, due to the technical issues, really I missed the mark big time on it.
I don't blame you for that at all.
Oh no, like I said, technical issues.
Right,
like legitimately, we did not know until production. By then, it was too late to.
And we needed Darwin for the last episode, and again, that was just a poor time to try to get him in on that. So hopefully that's one we can revisit down the road, because I do think it was a brilliant idea, and we should try to make it work.
And of course, I didn't know at that time that Rhett and Link had done.
So
just like a couple of years before.
Right, so Rhett and Link did Brandstat, which is a scripted podcast, which I still haven't listened to, but I'd like to at some point. And it's like, that was basically what we were doing, was like a scripted podcast.
But again, we had no clue at the time.
Right,
so, but it was just kind of funny, because it was like, oh shit, they've already went through. Because obviously it's something that people have done before, but I'm not a big podcast guy at all.
Right.
So I don't know which ones are legit, which ones are fake or whatnot. So it was kind of neat to go in. It's like, yeah, I know that they exist, but here's kind of our spin on it.
Okay, I think that brings us up to this year, Shocktober X. And, you know, we're right now if you're watching this, we are on schedule, and 31 videos will be out. In fact, 32 probably counting the Halloween stream, because we do usually do a live stream on Halloween. Don't know if you're working?
I am working.
Okay, so I may have to, we may not have a Halloween stream this year. That's okay. But right now we are on schedule for...
did you just call it schedule?
I did call it schedule. What is wrong with me? We're on schedule for 31 videos, and I'm quite happy with that. So there was no huge plan this year, except that obviously 10th anniversary, so we want to hit some classic Science to Say videos. And my idea for the intro, literally, the X of us hitting the guitar mix together, that was the plan. And I was like, I will work backwards from that to figure out how this intro works. And I'll be honest, half the ideas in that video we came up with, like...
Literally as we were filming it.
Literally, not even as we were filming it, like a few hours before while we were still at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And then... Because that's where you suggested the Friends parody. I was like, oh, shit, I could totally do that. It's like what if I did this? And I just, no to all of that, because, no. He loves Friends. I've never really watched it. Not a big fan. That's okay.
Never watched it, not a fan. It's like,
yeah, I know how that sounds, but,
No, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But
I was a Seinfeld,
which is funny because, yeah, I like Seinfeld, and I like what it did, but it was never my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But the Friends thing, I think turned out very well.
Thank you. Because
very well done.
That, again, had to be, we thought of it that day. We had to
I generally burst out laughing while I watched it.
Good. Because
which I don't do a lot in
segment,
movies or anything like that.
That segment was for you.
The thing that killed me was how, the Friends text.
Oh, yeah.
Font.
I was like, I've got to find the font.
Yeah.
The font and actually do, the Sign to Say logo in the font, I'm like... And when I saw the final product, I was like, I hate how good that is.
Yeah, it turned out great.
But my one regret in that is that I fully intended for us to do the
together. We talked about that and then
and
we forgot about it.
We were in such a hurry trying to get everything I knew we needed to get.
Yeah, we had a very short window to film this.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we had Mr. 311, which is why we actually credited him.
Thank you, John, again.
After all these years, too.
Yeah.
That was another reason we wanted to give.
Yeah, John is always willing to help with us. We don't always take him up on that, and there's just, it's...
Sometimes
it's easier just to work.
Have a couple people, keep things a little bit more limited. But over the years, he has been around a lot.
Yeah.
So this year, not only was he helping film and actually being videographer for us.
Yeah. Usually I am the director of photography and everything.
But it was
John
nice
actually helped film a lot of that.
And he was able to tell us when we were in frame, so it was everything turned out really good. And then that was one of, I made a crack about, we don't have the Darwin, so I noticed the Sagan has a street lamp.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's tall and thin like the Darwin, so that counts. And that gave me the idea of we have to have the tripod be Mr. 311.
Right.
Just the most abstract thing ever.
Yeah.
So that's why So this year that was a thank you as well to Mr. 311 for the assistance he's given over the years, off and on, both in streams and in videos or just being around and everything. So that's why we had two special guests.
Yes, but I did intend for us to do the. And we forgot to get that shot, and so, but then I was like, well, that works for me to just do it as the title card.
And then still freeze frame,
the cheesy, or sitcom freeze frame thing. There is another little bit of editing magic in that intro. I don't know if you've picked up on it or not.
Which one?
Our hands.
No, I know for a fact that I can tell.
Okay.
I can tell very easily.
Yeah, I had to explain that to a couple people though. So I
really shocked.
Figured you would.
Yeah, no, I picked it up immediately.
So, in our rush to get everything filmed,
because you don't play right-handed.
Oh, so there's more to that.
Mirrored it.
Yeah, mirrored. Yeah, so I don't usually reveal this much movie magic during Shocktober, but this is coming out at the end. It's close enough. In all the rush to get everything we needed filmed for the Friends intro and the actual intro to Shocktober, I was sitting down to edit.
There are two things that we forgot because you had talked about that too.
What?
So the clap we talked about.
You said it.
STDs.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, STIs. And then we did actually talk. You did mention we got to get me fretting it,
right.
And then.
Yeah, so we had talked about we need to get a close-up of our hands fretting the intro because that was my whole idea for the intro was, we're sitting together playing the song on our, Guitar Hero Rock Band guitars, and then we, cross our necks and transition to title card. That was the only idea for the intro. Everything
we were going to fight like giraffes.
Was thought, from their back. I go to sit down to edit, and I go, crap. We forgot to film spreading. So I ran back down here, had both the guitars down here. I threw on the movie, and then I was like, well, shit, he was wearing gloves. So I went downstairs and I have black latex gloves for the resin printer I have in my garage. And I put one of those on, and I
didn't know that those were latex. I thought you had just black cloth gloves.
Nope. They're those
right there.
latex gloves you see sitting on the coffee table there. So I put one on, got my hand in frame, and yes, I don't play I don't play right-handed. I play left-handed. So I filmed myself, and then I mirrored it in editing. And unfortunately, one of my fingers twitched while I was fretting the guitar, so it looks like it's off, but if you watch it carefully, it's really not. But that has bugged the crap out of at least one person that commented to me about it. The bass is on, spot on, at least such as it exists. I was more going with the choral background in the build-up there.
Yeah.
If you notice a reflection in the frets of kind of a grayish blue light, that's literally the intro to Dead Silence or playing, so I'm in time with the audio. I just cut out the actual audio and, matched up the actual intro. But other than that, we had everything else, so I was able to get it all thrown together, and it was up just after midnight. There was a little extra time needed to make sure the Friends intro was just right, but I was like, I can't rush this. It needs to be good. My goal with that was, get all of our credit sequences in and get us out before the chorus kicks in, just so, in case Content ID wants to be a bitch,
Yeah.
I mean, you got the idea, by that point anyway, so. But, yeah, that was the idea for Shocktober 10, and then I was like, well, I'm going to find a couple of games that I know will last me, through most of the month, and we'll get stuff during the live streams, and we'll get stuff on the weekend and make that work, and I've been pretty happy with the content so far. I genuinely did not expect the casting of Frank Stone to last as long as it did. Well, what?
No, it's just funny because, you were just like, it's going to be a few episodes, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, shit, we're up to number 13.
Literally, I'm almost pissed that there's actually 14 parts instead of 13. I thought 13 would have been great to end on,
Yeah.
But yeah, as of today, I have finished the casting of Frank Stone. At least the main story. I may revisit it as an aftershocks, but that's not decided yet.
And the highlight of the year is the Shiver speedrun.
Yes, finally did the Shiver speedrun. So that started showing up around Shocktober. Let's see. I said when I started
2016
that was when I did the playthrough. I didn't start doing the speed run until probably 4. So maybe
I think it was 12 days of 2016.
Oh, you're right.
You did the actual speed run then.
Right. And then it just
we're trying to beat it as fast as possible. I think it was the goal at the time.
I had done the playthrough in 2016. Then that year in the 12 days, I tried to do a speed run because I still want to play it. I just don't want to start over from the beginning unless I'm doing it for another reason. And then I just moved that into Shocktober, and it's kind of become a tradition where once a year I would try to do it, with the goal being beat the game in 2 hours, or less than 2 hours, because I knew I could do it in 2.5, probably. And I
kept coming up short. It
would usually be one puzzle or two puzzles that would stymie me, or I'd lose track of a jar and couldn't find it in time. Pretty much always it was a puzzle to get me stuck on. Just really bad luck with the RNG or something, or not being able to figure it out. Because it's crazy to me that a game that old in 1999 is so randomized every time you play through it. That's great. It's great replay. But yeah, some of those really had given me trouble. This year I finally did it. I finally hit the
because you did it. You did 2 runs this year. The first one was really good.
And the
second, it was one of your best runs, actually.
Yeah, the second one was not even planned.
It was very last minute because I ended up. I think I was out like a lamb.
You were.
I was asleep because I didn't. I remember being glad that I woke up when I did. Because we were originally gonna do a co-op stream, and then I was just dead tired. So he was just screw it, I'm gonna put Shivers up, and I'm like, cool, go ahead and do that. I'll probably jump in. Next thing I know, it's an hour later, and I'm just like, oh shit, because I drifted off to nap.
Yeah.
And then I hopped on and saw that you were already up to 6th or 7th spoopy at that time. It's just you've only been doing this for 45 minutes.
Right,
holy shit.
That was a good run, and being able to find certain full combinations early on. Obviously Ash is the first one I find, but the next puzzle I solved, I got the cloth bottom, and I went out to the lobby, and I was like, oh, need to check the eagle head, and I opened that up, and the fucking lid for it's right there. It's I can already go capture 2 Xippy, but it being cloth, I was I need to do that later because it's better to do it up in the janitor's closet. I think I'll have to test this on a future run because, of course, I'll do it again to see if I get a faster jump. I think you can capture cloth elsewhere, and then when you get to the janitor's closet, you just move the pile, and there's a thing in there. But it always seemed to be the thing of like he's always there to make sure he's guarding that piece, you know. Much like the tar one is always down in the lake, and that one is for sure. Like until you have to capture that one down there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so after all these years, finally got in under 2 hours, and it wasn't even close.
No, it was an hour 45 pretty
Yeah.
much, and I'm kind of blown away by that. And
Yeah, because your next closest, I think, was like 2:10, 2:15 in that range.
Yeah.
So you shaved half an hour off your best time, which is phenomenal.
I'll take it.
So,
I mean, again, it was not getting stuck on, you know, I got lucky with the liar. I only had to do it twice.
Twice,
yeah.
I think you told me, yeah.
And then,
all the big puzzles that usually get him caught,
yeah,
he was done with by the time I jumped in and woke up.
The wire puzzle I did in two attempts.
2 attempts, yeah. And he got real close.
And really, I mean, it could have been one attempt where I was like, I think it's going to be easier if I start over because I screwed something up here, and now I'm going to have to pull the whole thing apart. Red Door, that one still felt like it took the longest. Having the notes I have to where I knew the pattern to do for Chinese checkers helped because I got through that one a lot faster. But yeah, Red Door, Chinese checkers, and Liar are the three that really slow my runs down, and I did well with them and was able to get to them faster. And I was fortunate that I made a lot of pot pairings that let me capture, you know, Xoopys faster than having to go and solve all the puzzles. It's like, okay, now I've solved everything, now I have to match everything up and go capture them last minute, which is usually how most of my runs for that game go after like the third or fourth Xoopy, you know. So yeah, like you said, you popping in, I had 7. It's like, yeah, I've had some good luck tonight, you know. But yeah, I will be trying it again and seeing if I get even faster time or.
There's plenty of time to save, so yeah.
There's also, you know, the randomizers where I can randomize in the stuff that is fixed and make the game completely random. So there are Shivers will still be making an appearance in future Shocktobers. I'm just really happy I hit that milestone this year.
Yeah.
Shocktober 10.
Yeah, like the perfect year to do it.
Yeah, right.
That was actually one of the goals,
there are things
too.
where it's like there are things I wanted to do this year with it being Shocktober 10. If they happened, awesome. If they didn't, oh well. You know, and that was one of them, and I'm really happy that happened. So, well, that brings us up to now. So,
I think we've already been at now. I don't have a watch.
We're at now. Everything that's happening now is happening now.
Yeah. Hair past a mole.
Yeah. Yep. Any other comments you want to add?
No.
Well, I think that is a longer than expected, but a full retrospective on Shocktober, such as it has existed on this channel for the last 10 years. And
then you do a super cut to all the intros.
I mean, I was going to be mixing them into this.
Yeah.
And that will do it. And then here's to 10 more. So thank you all so much for watching.
And then we can both do
yeah, that'll be 2020.
Degeneration X, definitely, yeah. October 20.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little retrospective into the history of Shocktober because we do feel like it's kind of the core of this channel. It's the thing we come back to every year. Even if I don't put out any other videos between now and next October, you bet we'll be back for October with 31 more videos. So thank you all so much for watching. If you've been here since the beginning, thank you so much for sticking around. Stay tuned for more Shocktober content. Until next time.
You did more of a reading rainbow.
Until next time, you stay close to the
internet.
Hey everyone, I'm Sagan.
And I'm The Tesla.
And we are Scientists Say! So this is just a short video that we're going to do. Apologies for readjusting the camera, but we just want to cover something that the Scientists Say channel is going to be doing for the next month that we like to call Shocktober.
my secret now.
Okay.
I see bad gamers.
At GK. Online.
All the time. They're everywhere. They don't know they're bad.
Sweet Jesus God. Hey everyone, I am Sagan.
And I'm the Tesla.
And we are...
Oh! Shit!
I see bad gamers.
We really put the poopy
Yep.
in spoopy.
That sounded insane.
Shocktober. As we go.
Sweet Jesus God.
Holy